I love it when movies film on location. It gives a sense of authenticity, scope and scale that you simply cannot match with a green screen or a studio. But what do you do if the location you want to film in doesn't exist, like an alien planet? Or what if you want to film somewhere but doing so would be too dangerous because of that country's political situation? What if your film is set on Mars? Well, the answer to all three of these questions is simple. You film it here, in Jordan, a country about the size of Maine and Portugal, nestled at the crossroads of Africa and Asia. In the last 10 years or so, audiences have seen Jordan appear in Star Wars, Aladdin, The Martian, Dune, Star Wars again, The Hurt Locker, and John Wick, and Transformers, and Zero Dark 30, and Moon Knight, and all of these other movies that you've probably never heard of. And those are just the recent ones. Hollywood has been coming here for decades. But before we look at why Jordan is such a popular destination for movie making today, let's take a quick stroll through the sands of time. The first English language production of any real scale filmed in Jordan was Lawrence of Arabia, a movie that embodies the word epic in every way and remains one of the best looking films ever made. Like all historical movies, it takes a fair amount of dramatic license, but the film broadly tells the story of T.E. Lawrence and the role he played in the Arab Revolt. A very complicated period of history, but one that, in part, led to the founding of what is today officially known as the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. And partly because of this history, the Lawrence of Arabia movie production had extensive support from the Jordanian government thanks to the backing of then King Hussein. Fun fact, Hussein's grandfather was actually involved in the events portrayed in the film. See, here's a photo of him with Lawrence and Winston Churchill. But he's not directly depicted in the movie. Extra for experts though, he was the brother of Alec Guinness's character, Faisal. Filming began in Jordan in 1961, with locals making up the cast of extras, and various Jordanian officials on hand to give support and advice to the crew on everything from translation and locations to how best to ride a camel and even pronounce verses of the Quran. They were actually planning to film the entire movie here, but it started to become too expensive and a lot of the crew was getting sick, so they relocated to Spain to film a load of the city scenes as well as the Siege of Aqaba and a handful of other locations. But the film was monumental in capturing the scale and beauty of Jordan's landscape and has formed the backbone of its tourism industry ever since. Moving on, and besides a brief appearance in 1977's Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, the next major movie that brought Hollywood to Jordan was... It's not here for a very long time, but it absolutely makes an impression. After one of the best action scenes in all of cinema, Indy and the gang walk through this canyon and emerge from it to find the resting place of the Holy Grail right there, in that temple, the one behind all the tourists. This is called the Treasury in Petra, and I am certain that you've seen it before. Before the production relocated to Spain, David Lean actually wanted to film some scenes for Lawrence of Arabia here, because the real Lawrence had visited this place, and because, well, just look at it. You can see why it has captured the imagination of filmmakers for decades. Now, unfortunately, this archaeological marvel is just a facade. Despite what Indiana Jones would have you believe, you can't go inside for real, and as far as we know, there's no Grail or Knight Templar lurking away in the back. But the scenes in front of the treasury were pretty much the only bits of Indy that were filmed in Jordan. Most of these desert scenes were shot in Spain, while the iconic ending was filmed in Texas. But it's a little example of movie magic that I just love. This shot and the very next one were filmed thousands of miles apart, and yet audiences are none the wiser. If you actually follow this canyon to the end, you wind up here, which is far less scenic, and also the people here are no Indiana Jones when it comes to horse riding. Anyway, fast forward to the year 2000, when Jordan had its big screen debut as Mars in two mostly forgotten films, The Red Planet and Brian de Palma's Mission to Mars. A year later, in 2001, we came back here for my generation's Indiana Jones.
You, lighten up. You, big trouble. You, get in the car.
Now, The Mummy Returns was mostly filmed in Morocco, but the second unit was based here in Jordan and filmed their scenes in the canyons around the Petra complex, while this train station is just outside Amman City. But this is still only one film every 10 years or so. What changed to make Jordan so prolific in movies today? Well, in 2003, the Royal Jordanian Film Commission was established. Part of their mission, along with developing Jordan's own domestic film industry, is to have Jordan play a leading cultural and economic role regionally and internationally in the audiovisual sector. The commission is chaired by Prince Ali bin Al Hussein, who is the son of the same King Hussein who backed the production of Lawrence of Arabia and is by all accounts a huge movie fan. Here he is on the set of Star Wars with his family. Anyway, one of the main ways in which the Film Commission attracts international movie productions like Star Wars is through a cash rebate of between 10 and 25%. In very simple terms, what this means is that up to a quarter of what the studio spends in-country can get refunded back to the production. So let's say each of these rocks represents $100,000 of production spend for a total of $1 million. If you get a 20% rebate, then the studio is only out of pocket $800,000. That's a big incentive for the studios when choosing a location, so you can see why there was an uptick of movies coming to Jordan once the rebate was in place. Oh, and Jordan's not the only place that does this, by the way. If you wondered why that peach appears in the credits of every Marvel TV show, it's because the state of Georgia offers a tax credit as high as 30%. Governments around the world want huge film productions to spend their money in their territory and create jobs for their local industry, and so they're offering bigger and bigger incentives to bring them in. But we'll come back to that, because the rebate alone isn't enough of a drawcard. Filmmakers also want the production itself to go smoothly once they're in country. There's no point saving 20% of the budget on rebates if the in-country shoot is going to be 40% more expensive overall.
The movie cannot have tracks. See the tracks? See the tracks? I'm gonna find another location clean of tracks, and I don't want you to mess it all up again.
So that's where the other factors come into play. Jordan is a small country, meaning travel times are short. A production flying into Queen Alia International Airport in Amman is looking at no more than a 4-hour drive to get to the other end of the country where all the pretty deserts are. That makes it easy to transport cast, crew and equipment to and from the film shoot, which cuts down logistical costs and minimizes delays. And as you can see from all of these people, Jordan has a thriving tourism economy, in part thanks to all the movies that have been filmed here recently. But what this means from a production point of view is that there will be an ample supply of transport, accommodation, catering, telecom and medical services available of a standard that would be expected by a Hollywood production, even in the desert. But probably most important for a film production is the fact that Jordan has a film industry of its own. As you can tell by the fact that there's a Roman amphitheater in downtown Amman, the country has a long history of entertainment, but the first feature-length film made and produced in Jordan by Jordanians was Struggle in Jerash, which was released in 1957, only 4 years before Lawrence of Arabia was shot here. Since then, Jordan's film industry has gone on to produce thousands of movies, TV shows, adverts, and documentaries. A Jordanian movie was even nominated for the Best Foreign Language Film Oscar in 2016. But back when Lawrence and Indiana Jones were filming here, they still had to bring in a huge amount of crew because at that time, the local talent simply didn't exist for a lot of the roles they needed to fill. It's simple math, but the more people you need to fly in for a location shoot, and the longer you have to feed and accommodate them, the more expensive it's going to be. A skilled local industry means that the majority of the roles on set can be filled with locals, which is exactly what happens when movies come to Jordan now, because the talent and filmmaking skills exist here to support productions in a way that they didn't back in the 60s.
Okay, to the English, the Australians, Jordanian, Spanish. What else am I missing? Australians.
Did you do Jordanians?
There's one Kiwi here somewhere.
Did you do the Jordanians?
Yeah, Jordanians. Thank you. Yes. And everybody else.
Another factor in favour of filming in Jordan is that it is much more stable politically than some of its neighbours. As Dune's production designer said, we started the process by travelling through Google, looking at the different deserts of the world. We looked at amazing deserts in Chile, in Iran, in Chad, in Yemen, and Libya, but I'm naming countries that are very difficult to access for film production. And the same is true for cities. Jordan's capital city of Amman doubled for Iraq in movies like Fair Game, The Hurt Locker, and Brian de Palma's Redacted, various locations in Pakistan in Zero Dark 30, Jerusalem in Sacha Baron Cohen's Bruno, and as an unnamed Arab country, probably Lebanon, in Denis Villeneuve's Incendies. It's much easier to convince a studio to let you film somewhere safe like Amman instead of Baghdad. Although if you are going to do that, make sure you hire a local prop master to change the Jordanian number plate to an Iraqi one. And the last but probably most obvious thing Jordan has working in its favour is, well, all of this. Jordan's landscapes are absolutely stunning and almost totally unique. See, not all deserts are created equal. There's a difference between the plains of Utah, the rolling sand dunes of Abu Dhabi, or the scrubby rocks of Spain. So if a production wants this specific look, they pretty much have to come to Jordan. Whether it's John Wick chasing people through the desert on horseback, or Aladdin hanging out with the genie, or the Transformers gang getting blasted into the movie's third act, if you want a visually stunning desert backdrop for your movie, it's kind of hard to beat this. And of course, it has captured the imaginations of sci-fi filmmakers as well. We know it well as Mars thanks to Matt Damon and Brian de Palma, but it has also acted as the alien planets of Pasaana in Star Wars, Jeddah in Rogue One, Arrakis in the Dune movies, and even Prometheus filmed here, just using some pretty hardcore color correction. But Jordan is not without competition. Historically, Tunisia was the destination of choice for Hollywood, most notably hosting Star Wars and the prequels. It also stood in for Judea in The Life of Brian, Libya in The English Patient, and pretended to be Cairo in Raiders of the Lost Ark. But today, Jordan's main competitors for Middle Eastern locations are the United Arab Emirates and Morocco. The Abu Dhabi Emirate offers a 30% rebate, but besides that, its main drawcard is the endless white sand dunes of the kind Jordan doesn't have. So Jakku in The Force Awakens was in fact Abu Dhabi, as was this sequence in the latest Mission Impossible movie. Some of Dune was also filmed here. As a rule of thumb, if the sand isn't this deep red colour, generally it will have been filmed in Abu Dhabi, not Jordan. Morocco also offers a strong film rebate, and like Jordan has been hosting film productions for decades. Morocco's patch of the Sahara Desert has appeared in all sorts of movies, like Queen of the Desert, ironically a movie partially set in Jordan, and Sex and the City 2, ironically set in Abu Dhabi. But generally Morocco is used for its cities, not its landscapes, and unlike Jordan, it is usually playing itself. A lot of recent movies that have filmed in Morocco are also set there. Where Jordan comes into its own is its ability to be anything. It can be Mars or Pasaana, it can be Saudi Arabia or Egypt, it can be Iraq or Pakistan. And while this is also true of Morocco, generally when it appears in movies, it prefers to be just Morocco. But the competition between these three countries to attract film productions is heating up, and you can see why. Besides the economic benefit that comes with a major film shoot, it's also a tourism goldmine. I mean, just look at all of these people. I guarantee that a lot of them are here because of movies like Indiana Jones and The Martian. So to compete with Abu Dhabi and Morocco, Jordan has been ramping up its offer. The tourism board now covers the expenses for film directors if they're scouting for locations, and the government recently passed a law exempting film productions from sales taxes and other bureaucratic procedures. Also, the military is often roped in to help the production access more remote locations. When a production the size of Dune is trying to decide between Jordan and Morocco, any of these things could be the factor that tips the scales in the right way. Case in point, there's a new player in town. Jordan's southern neighbour of Saudi Arabia is entering the film business in a big way, offering a rebate as high as 40%. Expect to see a lot more movies set there in the coming years as they build up their local industry to compete with Jordan's. But the reality is that there will always be competition to film in beautiful parts of the world, and for all of the reasons that I've explained in this video, I have no doubt that Jordan's epic landscapes will continue to dominate our cinema screens for years to come, just as they have done since the 1960s. So the sun may be setting on my time here, but this is not the last time you have seen the country of Jordan in a movie.